$2 wasn't enough. I'm sorry, Dark King. I tried.
Excellent. Gosh, I'm so sorry.
I apologize, Dark King. I tried. Welcome, everybody, to Midnight's Edge After Dark. That kazoo you hear is Rob.
Dr. Birnbaum.
Dr. Birnbaum.
Culture Casino sends us a $1.49 super sticker. Thank you so much, sir.
Giggity, giggity.
Welcome, everybody. We got Rob, Robot Shlomo here. How you doing?
Oh, fantastic.
Feeling a little bit better, I'm glad to hear.
Getting better all the time. Could get much worse. Now I own the Sony in the state of Michael Jackson, 3 cents. Damn it.
All right. You going to introduce the rest of our guests, or you going to let me take over again?
Yes.
All right. We also
okay,
go ahead.
Also coming to us is from the Great White North, the whitest man in show business. A resident physician. He's got the prescription for what ails you, the script doctor.
Good evening, everybody.
And all the way from Pop Culture Minefield, it's comic artist Gary.
Yay, that's me.
We also have his assistant.
Assistant?
It's not his sidekick either. It's his co-host.
Co-host. I don't know. I don't know how it wants to be addressed. Nobody.
Rob, you're my
I'm the
assistant.
sidekick.
always got to find a way to bring a brother down.
Right?
Hey, everyone.
Great Odin's Raven.
Yeah, I'm the resident.
Rob's racist, folks.
Leave it to the resident honky to screw things up.
Hey, mad respect for you, Rob. Mad respect for you.
Oh, that's
He's only a little racist.
That's completely misplaced. I'll tell you right now. And joining us as always, your favorite YouTube harpy. She is an Emmy, an SB, a Tony, a Bambi, a BAFTA. She's an Earl, an OBE, which makes her
presentable. I gotta get a prop. This is the closest one.
McDonald's.
Instant prop comedy.
Yay!
That it was presentable.
I think I prefer that anyway. That's funny. The shake weight.
I don't know where my writing prop is. I think it's behind the desk now.
Just start throwing them.
No, it just probably is out of reach quickly.
That, of
Behind
course,
the door,
is mecha
sort of.
random since Rob wasn't able to finish there. Oh, Lord.
You suppose? See, Rob, this is where you pipe in with like, I'm distracted by her beauty or something. Just lie to me, make me feel better.
Which, of course, in German means a whale's vagina.
No, I don't drink anymore.
That's cute.
Oh.
I remember when I had my first beer.
We'll do this all night long, Rob. All right. Now, we got some news that come across the transom, as Rob likes to say. Let's start with the worst news of the week. Short Circuit is set to get a remake.
No!
Fuck you, people.
they're running out of remakes.
From Spyglass Media Group. Not only that, it's supposed to get a Latino makeover. Fuck you, I'm not saying Latinx.
It's actually offensive to
That's
people
what I've heard.
who told me that, no, we prefer something else. So by we, I mean the people who are labeled that.
So in other words, John Leguizamo is going to do the voice probably? I don't know. I haven't read this story yet, Rob.
Wow.
Exclusive. Not anymore, it ain't. Spyglass Media Group has set a remake of the 1986 film Circuit, bringing on the writing team of Eduardo Cisneros and Jason Schumann to put a Latinx.
Schumann isn't a very Latinx word, is it?
Oh, it's my people. They're from the good side of Mexico, They're Schumann. Yeah, the Schumans. We have a very deep history.
I take it back. He's mostly racist.
Yada yada family film. The original was directed by John Badham, starred Ali Sheedy, Steve Gutenberg and Fisher Stevens in a comedy that's centered around number 5, an experimental military robot that is struck by lightning and gains a human-like intelligence. Project X Entertainment's James Vanderbilt, Paul Neinstein, and William Chirac will produce, with Rehab Entertainment's John W. Hyde stepping back into his original role to creative as executive producer along with Teresa Kelton. Production Prexy. What the hell does that mean? Production Prexy. What's a production Prexy?
Prexy or
Yeah,
proxy?
Script.
Prexy.
I think they meant proxy. That's a word I've never heard before.
No.
I'm not familiar
Hollywood's
with
just
Prexy.
making up shit now.
Well, it looks really a lot like the whole Latinx thing is the flavor of the month, because this is the second thing. Actually, that was the first thing. The second thing was some comic book superhero something show that's also getting that sort of spin on it.
Well, Prexy, I just looked it up. It's a fancy. It's a word for president. So just say head of production. Production Prexy. Well, fuck you. I'm not saying it. Head of production Peter. Peter, and production Veep Chris Stone will oversee for Spyglass. Cisneros co-wrote the Eugenio Derbez directed. Damn it, I can't focus here. Instructions not included, and Cisneros and Schumann co-wrote the upcoming Half Brothers for Focus Features, starring Luis Gerardo Mendez, Connor Del Rio, and Juan Pablo Espinosa. You know what? I remember his sister, Connor Del Rio. I remember his sister, Vanessa Del Rio. Oh, man, let me tell you. What a hell of an actress.
I don't think that's his sister.
No, it's not. No, it wasn't?
I doubt it.
Oh, okay.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
How dare you?
And fuck you more. Why would you ever touch this? You can do a sequel?
Yep.
Numero 5 is a lie.
Oh my god. Don't even fucking go there.
It's gonna be
man,
so racist.
I can hardly wait.
I am
till
Jose
trash-
Fivo.
You watch. He's
Jose
gonna
Cinco. That's
trash
it. Yeah.
her
I eat
taco truck.
chimichangas and burritos is what he's going to say. This is just going to be an episode of South Park, isn't it?
Well, exactly. She's going to have a taco truck.
Mhm.
You got it.
I'm just glad they're not going to make him black. That's all I got to say. So.
I would take Dave Chappelle as number 5 any day.
Ooh.
You know,
Okay.
I get, because you know, for 5, like I said, I wasn't kidding. When John Leguizamo is going to be the one they get to play either Johnny 5 or the Steve Gutenberg part. Mark my fucking words.
Tom,
Because you can't make a movie with a Latin twist on it without having him in it.
is John Leguizamo the one guy that who'll lower himself to do anything?
He made The Pest.
Of course he is. Then, how would Dave Chappelle as Johnny 5 sound? What would that be like?
Holy shit, I'm alive! Damn, you got some nice titties. Titty.
Well, what's his thing? Are they able to bring back Fisher Stevens though? Because
Fuck no, probably not. That's a whole racist. Don't even get started. I'm surprised they haven't tried to cancel the movies yet because of him.
I
Yeah,
think
even
a
though
lot
he
of
was
people
a very
don't realize he's not
Young
actually
Jewish
Indian.
guy playing an Indian.
Yeah, I was gonna say, even though despite the goofs he has, he's still a pretty. They would overlook the entire fact that the motherfucker's literally practically a rocket scientist. Like the whole Apu thing. They'll overlook the fact that it's a positive, character, and just they're making fun of him. Yeah, he's goofy. He doesn't understand colloquials and stuff like that. But he builds robots. Motherfucker's a genius.
Yeah. You don't understand. That's not good enough.
What the? I mean, let's face it. Like at the beginning of part 2, the only reason he's in the spot he's in is because, like, I'm sure they got sued by everybody. Like, it's kind of the whole point. It's like they're like, Nova is no more. You fucked up. One of your robots got out. It's like,
And there's like a handful of Indian comedic actors or / comedians, and it's always the same guys playing the same roles. And it's
and that's what I was joking
there's
about John
2 of them.
Leguizamo. Yeah, because he's in like everything.
and one of them was directly involved with the bringing down of Apu. And
Oh no! Oh, you mean Scooter? I call him Scooter because I can't remember his real name, and he's also looks like Scooter from the Muppets.
Yeah.
Harry Condabalo.
Yeah, he's not a stand-up comic.
Yeah,
I was thinking like the guy from The Big Sick or Russell Peters. Those are the two that are actually like comedians.
Yeah, that's the guy that was on the first episode of Twilight Zone, the new and I'm doing quotation marks series. And I hate that guy too. I don't think he's funny.
Yeah, we got a super chat from Steve Otten. He sends in $5. Thank you so much. Says, and then they came for Johnny Five. Once again, I say fuck Hollywood. So do I. So do I, Stephen.
What's with the nasty language, Stephen? Jeez, clean it up.
We're on Midnight's Edge After Dark. Every other word is fuck, 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 and fuck.
Fuckity fuck,
Mark
fuck.
C, yeah. Oh, fuck, I forgot a fuckity in there. Mark C sends in $2. Bill Burr for Johnny Five.
Yeah, bitch.
I would fucking die if he did the voice.
That would be amazing.
Or at least one of the robots.
He's Johnny Six, you know.
Hey, Five, get in line, man. You're fucking everything up for everybody. Where's he going? He's taking off. Fucking A.
If I still had my rocket launcher, blow you away.
We're all gonna get in trouble. Quit chasing. Oh, fuck. Yeah, he's just the robot that keeps telling, don't do that. Oh, man.
Yeah, the naysayer bot.
Yeah, naysayer bot.
It's like from Gulliver's Travel, the cartoon. It's like, I'll never get there, Gulliver. He'll be that character.
Just
Can't do that.
Why? I've already brought up how you can do a Short Circuit 3 and it'd be hilarious. All you got to do is put Johnny Five in college. It writes itself.
Well, college of the early 2000s. Yeah, college today, that would be.
Well, that's when I came up with the concept, sadly, because I'm like, okay, he's getting to that point. He probably would have went through regular schooling at this point. He wants to go to college. He wants to get an education. He's a citizen. He has the right to go.
But he could just read a book in 1 second and finish the class.
Well, that's the whole point. Is he goes to college. He aces everything, but he can still party and everything. That's the funny part.
Yeah, he's like doesn't have to even go to class.
And you put him in with a bunch of like the kids who are like either have a hard time learning and shit like that, and he helps them learn. And you have a montage, and they all pass the test at the end.
Or you put it in college today where he looks for a safe space and he just completely goes nuts with it.
Safe space.
And
What
they
is
try to
safe
figure out what his
space?
gender is, and
I am robosexual.
I identify as Johnny Five.
You guys are giving Hollywood way too many good ideas right now.
Dolphine sends in $4.99. Next on the list of remakes, Breakfast Club and Love Potion #9. Yeah, right. No shit. Oh man.
I mean, Seth MacFarlane does little mini remakes on his shows.
What is Twitter?
What is Twitter?
It's where everybody gets out and says everything. What are you doing? I just read it. What? Twitter? Boy, there's a lot of whiny people out there. Jeez. Hashtag exhausted.
Well, now, what would Dave Chappelle, Johnny Five, say about that?
Fuck your safe space. I'm a robot. Beep, beep, beep. Boop. Motherfucker. Oh, shit. I got a laser beam. Watch. I'm going to play with the cat. Get the pointer. Get the pointer. Zzz. Oh, shit. That's a real laser. Poor kitty. I just
you're doing good when you get the black guy to laugh.
I just don't see this working, man. I mean, Johnny Five, the whole point, it just...
It's just another heartless, soulless, ballless, gutless Hollywood remake that for people who can't create anything else.
Oh, and here's another thing. Mark C is right. They'll make it Joni Five. Watch. Bill Burr for Johnny Five and Anita Sarkeesian as Joni Five. That would be our luck, is they'll get Melissa McCarthy or something, or Rosie Perez. There you go, to do the fucking voice. Oh, God. There we go. That's all we need. Fat Steven Seagal beat up a Pedro. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I talk good and stuff.
Johnny Five fears the Pando Lando, not the WD-40 again. No, you're a mighty fine looking robot.
Yeah, need to lube you up.
I got some WD-40.
Where's your
Looks just
input
like
slot,
Colt
baby?
45. Oh man, just quit. Leave my childhood alone. Fuck. All right, I get it. I'm like one of the main fans of the Short Circuit films, but still, god damn.
No, I am too. I fucking love that film. I enjoyed the second film, but I love the first film.
Nobody wants a remake of Short Circuit.
Yeah, it's like where were they reading that this was the thing to go for?
Yeah, they kind of had a remake of
Chappie
Short Circuit
flopped,
called Chappie,
yeah.
and it wasn't the same thing.
Oh my god, that was so bad, and I wanted to bring it up, but I was like,
I actually like Chappie.
Nobody
but
will
no,
know that.
I mean,
I only know because the band Diane Ward was in it, but I never watched it.
Enraging Rhino sends in a $2.99 super sticker. Did I get the one from Dolphite up here? I saw it. Did I miss it? Oh no, we got that one. Okay, yeah. All right, we're caught up. No, I mean, I get why people don't like it, but I enjoyed it. And again, why? Fucking why? There's no point in doing it. It's just going to be stupid. You would have more fun, like I just said, even if you don't take Johnny Five to college. Like, just the fact that maybe he's been, like, isolated on the farm for all these years, and you bring him out into the real world, and he, you know, has to learn about the internet and all that kind of stuff. I mean, the possibilities are endless, but the joke is kind of gone if you reboot it. I mean, I don't know if Script gets what I'm saying, but...
I do, yeah. There's the innocence to Johnny Five, and then you introduce him into something where the world has become a lot smaller than what he originally thought it was, and he has to deal with that. Like, he could read the internet.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, just that completely like screws him up, and he's trying to find his soul again.
I mean,
wow, humans have all new ways of mating that I never even imagined.
I'm going to read the internet. Boy, that's all it is porn.
Yeah, 97% porn.
Jeez, do people ever put their clothes on? Oh, shit. All right, in other news... to move along here, I don't know. Universal has struck a deal with Cinemark to shorten the theatrical window. Well, let's do this other one real quick first in between, since Mecca said it is semi-related, and it is. They have announced they're doing a Wonder Girl TV series with a Latina slant. Here we go, another one. So as Mecca was saying, that's the flavor of the week.
Well, unbelievable. Greg Berlanti's next. Sorry, what'd you say?
Is that Donna Troy's Wonder Girl?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Greg Berlanti's next DC project in development is at the CW will be Wonder Girl, but will not be. Oh, it will not be Donna Troy.
Yeah, because they already had the character on Titans, I hear. So this would be. Oh, this would be the young girl that studies to become Wonder Girl. Okay. There's a in the comics they had this Greek professor that Wonder Woman stayed with at the beginning of her career, and her daughter would eventually become the new Wonder Girl after Donna Troy had leveled up, become a goddess, whatever you want, you know, in the comics. And I think what they're doing is putting a different spin on that.
I know nothing about this show, so don't ask me.
All I had is it seems to be the flavor of the month. So
the newly created character will be the Wonder Woman of DC's upcoming Future State event in the comics, which time jumps its universe forward to see a new and more diverse. There's that word.
Gosh.
DC universe led by new versions of Superman, probably gonna be a black guy. Batman, probably gonna be an Asian guy. Wonder Woman, and other key heroes. It launches in January. Queen of the South executive producer, showrunner Dalen Rodriguez will write the pilot, which will be produced by Berlanti Productions. Berlanti is the studio behind all the CWs and other DC shows, including The Flash, Stargirl, Black Lightning, Batwoman, and more. Black Lightning took the first black superhero family to the small screen, while Batwoman marked the first LGBTQ plus XYZ E-I-E-I-O.
Because that's all we deserve is sloppy seconds. No, really. That's my problem with Batwoman. I'm like, oh, really? We already have Batman. Why do I care about a female bisexual version?
Because she's the woman.
Suck my dick. I don't care. Like, no, seriously. Like, I don't get what the difference between any of these shows are. Anyway, it's all the same damn show. It's a bunch of badly lit, bad acting, whisper acting, and it's all the same stupid crap anyway. So,
well, it's all goes to prove that a lot of these people really either do not read or do not understand the comic books that they have read. And speaking as someone, being a person of color myself.
Whoa, wait a minute. What?
I just got to say, both.
I'm sorry, folks. I didn't know he was black, or I wouldn't have let him on.
Jesus.
Hey, I don't see color. People tell me I'm white. I take their word for it. Okay?
Rob, you forget we're racist.
We are.
We're racist as hell.
I'm
everybody-
so sorry. I
and
had
don't
no
everybody
idea that
freak
we'd
out.
hire the racist.
Don't freak out. We'll
I'm just
take care
more
of it.
people
I'm
if they
kidding.
say that about me. I'm like, what am I supposed to do about it?
I just think that.
In here.
Sorry, Keith. I'm just picking on you, of course.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. No, I
Or
just
more or
think
less picking on our detractors, I should say.
Yeah.
there are just a lot of characters of color in DC that are, for whatever reason now, never really going to get adapted. After all this time, all this digging, and Berlanti only found Black Lightning. And again, I've said it before in our show, when you really seriously look at DC, although DC is not really known for the plethora of characters of color they did have, those that they do have are actually kind of cool. And Turok from the Legion of Superheroes is probably one of the coolest black characters out there. But nobody really knows who he is because, DC refuses to bring that character back. So
They tried with Vixen but failed because they did not handle her properly.
yeah, but that's all on Greg Berlanti, who will never admit that he screwed up. So, and again, I keep going, you want a character of color, you want to have proper representation. Hey, here's one. How about John Henry Irons? He's black. He's smart. He's
the dude. We've talked about this on a show because he should have been Steel on that series, not Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah,
on Supergirl.
Yeah, he should have been on Supergirl. That would have been a perfect character to bring over rather than Jimmy Olsen. If you needed a black character, John Henry Irons would have been the one because you could have had his niece hang out with Kara and they'd be besties. While John Henry Irons would create a lot of the tech that you would see in the show. You didn't have to work that hard. Everything's there. You just got to actually, do the reading.
Do the reading and place the pieces in the right order. I mean, they created Junior to Toyman, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then they wrote him off the show. and then they turned Jimmy Olsen, I think, into Guardian, which is completely defeats the purpose of Jimmy Olsen.
And in doing that, they screwed themselves on a future Superman series. Because now so now you need to have young people in the series. Well, you can't have Jimmy Olsen because you've made him an older guy. So now you got to have Clark and you got to have Lois. They have to have kids in order to give you that teen segment that you would.
And they've moved to the Kent farm. That's where they're living now.
Oh man, they are making this harder than it should be.
Well, they fired that woke writer on the Superman show. So
yeah, how bad do you have to be?
Well, and that goes right to what we've been saying.
Well, she wrote on Krypton prior, so that's how bad.
To be fair, I did like Krypton. I mean, Krypton had a lot more going for it than at least Supergirl. And again, I will defy anyone to basically compare Brainiac 5 on Supergirl to Brainiac on Krypton and tell me which one's comic accurate.
No, and the thing about that, I can't remember her name offhand, but we talked about her on the show recently too, and it was the whole thing is like, look, you shouldn't be mad so much that you got fired because you're a shit writer. Mm-hmm. You should be upset because you got hired in the first place because of the color of your skin, even though you were a shit writer, or at least not meant for this.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where people need to start, speaking out. Like, wait a minute, I'm being hired just because I'm a token hire here. This is bullshit. And that's what I've been saying, and everybody's been saying for so long, and I can't wait till some of these actors and actresses finally see it, and they stand up and go, wait a minute, Star Trek Discovery or Star Wars, well, Boyega kind of has already, but Star Wars and all these things, wait a minute, you're just using me for a token, and to like, fucking stand on some podium and say, look what we got, and, bring out the gay person, bring out the black person, bring out the Asian person, bring out this
Tom,
person.
you're using me for a token on the show.
Yeah, well, I have been for like 5 years, right? Exactly. Now you upset Sadie. You upset Sadie. Good job.
Oh, Lord.
No, it's where I use the circus freak analogy, because to me it's the same fucking thing. It's basically exploiting people's differences for your benefit, being whatever it be, Doctor Who, Star Trek Discovery, Star Wars, whatever you want to put in there, DC Comics.
Yeah.
Because like you guys just pointed out, how many female and how many non-white characters have there been over the past 60, 70 years in comic books that have never even got a fucking shot, but yet they're going to sit here and take characters that already exist, and just because, they're more famous, you're going to turn around and you're going to try and, switch the race or the gender and that's going to make everything better. No, to me that's insulting, not only to the character, but to anybody who is a woman or anybody who is not white. Because it's like, there already is, Black Panther, I think, proved my point. Like, there's enough strong characters out there. Just use them. Wonder Woman should have had a movie 50 years ago.
Oh yeah,
at least in the 80s.
Or yeah, at least right after Superman was big. There should have been the first thing they jumped on, is a Wonder Woman movie.
You're right.
Well, that was always the big four. Like the big main superheroes were the ones you'd see on like the underoos and stuff, or you'd see on packaging and like cereal, on on cartoons and stuff. You'd see between Marvel and DC, you'd see like Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman, and you had like the big four. That's what I call kind of the underoos superheroes, because those are the ones that everybody knows. That's kind of the ones that they keep sticking to.
Well, oh, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Keith, because I'll wait till Rob gets back, because he'll want to jump on my point.
Well, what I was going to say is, DC actually did have a plan with a lot of its characters of color in the beginning. With Jon Stewart being Green Lantern, you had two other characters that came along that actually had ties to that character. Okay? Black Lightning, because he married Jon Stewart's sister. And then Tyrock of the Legion of Superheroes, his name is actually Troy Stewart. And it pretty much writes itself, as Script was saying. If you follow what has been laid out, it's pretty simple. And you get to where you're going better without really ticking people off or having to tick off boxes, because you gotta meet whatever quota you're assigned to,
right,
or whatever show that you're trying to put together.
Right. And I don't know if Rob's back yet, but that speaks to my whole point, is I hate redundant superheroes anyway. Like, I hate any kind of like Supergirl, She-Hulk, Speedy,
female versions of, or
female versions of the exact, when we already got one, and then you add in something like a Miles Morales, where to me that not only is that a rip-off copycat, it's insulting, because all it does is take Peter Parker and add stereotypes.
Well, and then you're redoing a character that you've already redone.
Right.
Remember, he wasn't the first. It's actually Miguel O'Hara, the Spider-Man 2099 was actually first. He was the first Spider-Man of color.
Right. Well, then not only that, though, but no, the thing is, I brought up, that certain things about Spider-Verse, and I get attacked endlessly. And it's like, you know what? I don't see why everybody's sticking up for Miles Morales so much. He's just basically Peter Parker 2.0, add in a bunch of stereotypes. That's it. There's nothing
like
different about him.
Version of Spider-Man.
It is. It really is. Because the only difference between him and Peter Parker is that Miles Morales, especially in the Spider-Verse film itself, which I make arguments if they just go back to the version that was closer to Peter Parker, even though they changed him so he wasn't so much like Peter Parker. They take him back to that version. And the only difference is the kid likes rap music, he's got 2 living parents, and he spray paints. Like, that's the only fucking difference between him and the original Peter Parker. Come on. Really. He's still gifted. He still gets bit by a radioactive spider, and his uncle gets killed, being one of his major motivations in being Spider-Man. So you tell me what's really that different about Miles Morales other than the color of his skin and other things that are stereotypical. Please, I'm waiting.
Well, they even give him Gwen Stacy as a love interest.
I rest my fucking case.
It'd be different if, for me, Supergirl over time became a much better character, although not handled that well within comics. And as I've said on our show, as a television series, what they should have gone with the character was coming at it from an angle that I think could have been really helpful to people that have experienced trauma. Because when you think about the character of Supergirl, she is actually a much sadder character than Clark. Because she actually remembers Krypton. She remembers her home. She remembers everyone. She remembers her family. She remembers his family. He has no memory of his real parents. And so he's able to adjust to living on Earth easier. Whereas there's a constant little bit of sadness with her because she has this new life, and yet she's come from someplace else entirely different. A more advanced civilization. I wouldn't really say they were better people in any way, shape, or form, but they're different. And that, I think, should have been what they hung the series on, rather than just going, writing her in such a way where you didn't really understand if she was, 23 or 18. That was always, in the first season or two, that was always weird about that show, the way they wrote Kara. You didn't understand what age she actually was. So
yeah, it felt like more of an idea of a show than an actual show.
Well, that's Berlanti for you.
Yeah. And it's not like Greg Berlanti hasn't put out some stuff that was, not, I enjoyed some of his stuff that was not DC related. But when he starts getting into the comic book shit, it's just not cool what he does.
Well, you can tell he's reaching for something that he doesn't fully understand, or at least didn't, have certain people there to explain it to him.
Right.
So I just think that I go back to what I've often said. The DC television shows are better when you allow different people the opportunity to adapt these characters rather than giving it over to one person. Because giving it over to one person, you do reach a limit. And in the case of Greg Berlanti, we have figured out long ago that he really is not that big of a comic book fan because he doesn't.
Oh, he's such a liar. I've watched too many documentaries that pull him in just to score points.
Yeah.
God, stop trying to sell this guy as a comic book fan. He's not. I guarantee you right now, at some point in a meeting with him, he has suggested a gay black Batman and calling him Black Batman. He's
Probably
that uncreative.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
insufferable.
Did I shut it down? I shut it
I'm
down.
tired of that.
No, I don't think I can really I don't even know if there is anywhere to go with that.
Well, but you do have black characters within the Batman family. Batwing, you have the Signal, which to me, those two right there would be fantastic characters. And I think Batwoman is on the cusp of doing that if they went that far. But that's not the focus of the show.
Right.
So
Yeah.
And I loved how the photo of the new Batwoman came out and nobody gave a shit. It's like it did. I didn't see it trending anywhere.
No, nobody cares about Batwoman now. I think everybody kind of sees it as just this empty, shallow sort of, they're
dude.
yeah.
You're not excited that she's living in a van down by the river?
I'm more excited that it's going to be funny to meme and riff. So,
wow, Batwoman, again, I've said it before. If you're not reading the Batwoman comics and just adapting that, then you're not really doing very much for the character. I mean, she literally should be a cross between it should be John Wick as a woman who's also a superhero. That's basically the level of violence that they have within Batwoman. And she's got no qualms about using guns. So it nearly writes itself if you sell it like that. And
well, what, Berlanti gets in his own way.
Yeah.
With these things. And he starts throwing things in there that just have nothing to do with good storytelling. And so therefore it gets in the way of telling good stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong. He's thin when it comes to storytelling. He has an idea that could be good, but he doesn't know how to give it legs. And that's kind of one of his failings. And he hopes that he ends up getting legs with guys like Andrew Kreisberg or who's the other guy? They got rid of him recently. But they try to, put together and force a show as opposed to kind of leaning into the things that made the characters great.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like, for instance, for Batwoman's got a big obstacle with it, not just in the show, but also with the comics. And that is the whole Alice character. Like, I've read some of the earlier issues, and it just, I don't understand Alice's character at all, why she's doing what she's doing, all that other stuff is completely empty.
She's crazy.
I don't care. It's like the Joker's crazy, but I get why he's doing stuff because it's all to feed his own personal ego. Like, that's easy to follow. Her, I don't get what she's doing at all. She doesn't strike me as a threatening character or an even interesting one. Yet on the television show, she's way more interesting because she's played by a competent actress. But still, it's missing that thing. Like, why do I want to follow this character for more than one episode or more than one issue? I don't. They haven't given it any effort or anything of interest to there.
Yeah.
And because of that, even if you go from the comics, especially with more current age of the last 15 years, you could take a comic book and adapt it to TV. It does not write itself. It's still got a huge hurdle to go to because those comics are not great, especially during the Tom King times and when Scott Snyder kind of lost his way when he was trying to create basically an aristocratic League of Shadows, which cool concept, but it's like, how does this sustain itself? Like it doesn't work the same way of Ra's al Ghul, who you could try to kill him, but he's just going to use the Lazarus Pit and come back. So that's how the hierarchy maintains itself. But with the Court of Owls, like everybody should be fighting for power to the point where nobody gets anything done because that's how a cult of that nature works. Like everybody wants the power. That's why they get involved into it. That's why you can't have something real like the Illuminati because everybody be trying to find a way to kill the person ahead of them so that they can rise up in power. And it's a never ending cycle. So
every single person is a risk of exposure. Every single person. That's why I tell people you don't understand about conspiracies, why they don't work. The reason why is every single person that's involved with the conspiracy is a threat to that conspiracy. So therefore, it just never works. Hardly ever.
Usually starts off strong for a little bit, and then it collapses when somebody spouts their mouth off, and then people kind of realize what the heck's going on and be like, okay, no, we're unraveling this right now.
Exactly.
It's true. It's true. I don't know. There are so many different ways that this could go, but unfortunately, because of all of the changes at Warner Brothers, and that you now have someone who is pushing, whose job it is to now, outside of Berlanti, to push a lot of this stuff. It is just it's mind-boggling because you really don't have to work that hard to do it. If you just take the characters as they are and put them forward, you could do so much more and get a lot more accomplished without really pissing off a lot of longtime fans. I mean, okay, maybe I'm crazy, but I just, wow.
Well, one, you are correct, but two, you are crazy. Yeah. No, I agree with you on that, and of course, I always agree with Doc. Doc, because my fixation is trying to be a better writer all the time. I want to be a better writer. And that's why I love listening to his breakdowns more than Tom's and Rob's and Mecca's.
Thank you.
No, because he goes at things the way I like to think about these shows, and he breaks down the scripts, the structure, because you need arcs. There are arcs within the story. There are arcs within the characters, and and when you have a show where a character is the same as he is at the end of the show as he was at the beginning, it better be Friends or fucking Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Because those are the only shows where they don't have character
or Trailer
arcs.
Park Boys or
exactly.
The Office. Yeah.
Where it's anti that kind of writing, and it that's what makes it funny. But you have some of these things, and I just watched them. I can't even remember what the hell it was. It was so bad. And someone was like, I delete Friends when they recommend bad movies. And this person said, oh, you got to watch this. And I got so annoyed watching the film because the main villain, this female, was the same at the beginning of the film as she was at the end, or I should say at the end as she was at the beginning. And I'm like, that's a terrible character. Every villain should have an arc. A good villain has an arc.
Yeah. Even if that arc leads them to their defeat.
Yeah.
Every character needs to have an arc, because an arc is how an audience follows character growth. An arc is something that we have throughout our entire lives, unless you actively fight against wanting to do things like leaving your hometown, which unfortunately is kind of like a case right now in North America.
Right.
And we see a whole lot of people that don't want that to be the case. So you realize, oh yeah, story arcs and people actually learning and doing stuff is valuable. It's what we thrive on.
It's exactly. And, and I referred to it the other night as, because my buddy Graham Nolan, he really loves these old shows, which I love them too. But I recognize that the weakness in some of the old school writing for TV, which is your bad guys were very two-dimensional. And
in some shows I think in Wild Wild West, Gunsmoke, those shows, the bad guys were a little bit more deeper, but they had their one-offs pretty frequent.
Yeah, the villain of the week, whereas you had these more interesting villains that were long-term throughout the series. And I found those more interesting than the villain of the week kind of stories. And I see that as my verses of old storytelling, which, don't get me wrong, I enjoy it, but I prefer having characters that have an arc. And when you go to Berlanti, this guy doesn't know how to create an arc for a good guy, much less a bad guy. Yeah. They're all just such two-dimensional, flat characters. They're uninteresting, and the only focus that they get, attention, is by the identity crap. There's nothing else memorable about those characters. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's the only thing he has, because if you've ever read some of his work, especially the superhero stuff prior to him injecting those types of identity modifiers, the scripts are still terrible. His original Flash script is horrible, but it's also repeated a lot.
Would you refer to it as bad as J.J. Abrams' Superman script?
It's pretty bad. I mean, JJ's worse.
Yep.
It just is.
Well, does it seem like he's getting a lot of help from Jeff Johns? I mean, that's.
Flyby? No. I mean, Jeff Johns is doing his own thing.
Yeah, but he's his own worst enemy too.
He really is, because he stumbled a lot with Stargirl. You have to binge that show. You can't watch it week to week.
I got to tell you too, and I tried. Oh my god, I hated that fucking show.
Because its entire first season works like an actual feature film, where the characters are stumbling along trying to figure out their powers and their role, and then they finally get that mentor who kind of rings them in and then teaches them a little bit of how to work together as a team, and then they get that failure, and then they overcome it, and then that was the one thing victorious. I did like about that but it's show. Stretched out so long that it actually gets frustrating, because you realize that they're kind of stopping and going with the ending of each episode.
No, I get
and it messes up the pacing.
But one of the problems I found with it was, or the good things I found with it, and I complimented the first episode, was it allowed the main character that becomes Stargirl to fail.
Yes.
And make mistakes. And I liked that. I was like, oh, this is going to be good. And then I got to episode 2 and I'm like, oh, it's shit again. Oh,
because it stopped the story short, and then it walked a little bit back, and then it jumps a little forward, then it walks a little bit back, because the pacing, the natural pacing of the story.
Like a drunk. Yeah, it staggers like a drunk.
it staggers like a drunk because the natural pacing that they're writing to is compelling them to get to the ending of the story, but they have to push it off because they have to keep on filling up these other episodes. And I think one of the best character moments they had was when, and spoilers if you haven't seen Stargirl, I'm loosely recommend it, but they have this one scene where Luke Wilson and Stargirl's real father meet, and they have a back and forth, and then the real father kind of, takes off. And Stargirl realizes that, the real father was a jerk, not who she thought he was going to be. And then Luke Wilson says, listen, if you need to hit me, yell at me, whatever, I can take it. I'm here for you. And she just gives him a hug. And you're like, yeah, that's your arcing relationship to how these two actually care about each other. And you completely buy it because they did earn it throughout those episodes. But plot-wise and other aspects, they a stumbling drunk. You're absolutely right, Gary.
Well, would you say that, the way they're making Stargirl, are they attempting to make a modern day Buffy, or is that giving it way too much credit as far as what they're aspiring to do?
I bet that was probably their comp, part of their comp when they sold it, but they're not really executing it in the same way.
We got some super chats I want to catch up on here because we got some that are from way back in the earlier part of the show. No, you guys are fine. DCB Titan sends in $2 from Canada, says could be worse, could be Shaniqua 5 with Leslie Jones. I think he's talking about talking about
I'd watch that.
Short Circuit, I think is what we were talking about then. That was when we just first started talking about the Wonder Girl. Trenchman sent in $1.99. Spider-Man being a mentor to Miles is better. Well, that was one of the few things they used from the other version of Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse film, but that was like it. Otherwise, they used all the stuff that
I enjoyed that dynamic myself in the film.
I
get what you're saying, Tom.
No, it's just a personal thing. Rob and I are just one of the few people on the internet who didn't like Spider-Verse, so I don't know. We're probably wrong.
We've caught endless shit for it.
I wouldn't have liked it if I watched it, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, you don't like many superhero movies, though. So
no. What's wrong? Certainly not cartoons with weird, stupid animation.
Yeah, jerky animation. DCB Titan sends in a Canadian $2, says Black gay Batman, I believe that was.
My comment. Oh, yeah.
I caught such shit when I said that Into the Spider-Verse looks like a PS1 cutscene. I'm like, it does.
Well, look, I get the idea of doing like the out of aligned, comic book thing, but you don't do it for every fucking scene. So your movie looks like a 3D movie you can't watch with the 3D glasses because it's not lined up properly anyway. Like that's what it looks like to me.
And there was something I want to point out that I didn't like. It was interesting what they tried to do, but it was dumb. Was the scenes before Miles starts really becoming adept, all of his action scenes were shot at 18 frames a second, compared to Peter Parker from the other universe at 24 frames per second. And they were trying to show this jerkiness in his movement, that it was out of whack with him. And I went, that's just a waste of energy to do that. There's so many other ways you can do that than doing it in a technical
I think it's cool
way.
To do some neat stuff here and there, but I think they went overboard. Is kind of where I'm coming. Like,
I agree with you.
Kind of like how the Ang Lee Hulk had just the right amount of the comic book stuff in it. I feel like this went way too far. Like, that's just a personal opinion, though.
Well, Ang Lee, I lost my passion for the film the minute he hit him with that foaming agent.
Two-thirds of the Earth. About the third act, that movie goes completely off the motherfucking rails, and you got Hulk fighting a fart cloud at the end.
Underwater,
It's the fart cloud that
Nick Nolte.
I was gonna say Nick Nolte's been holding in his shit for like 40 years, and that's the fart cloud from it. It's like, I'm gonna show you something.
Well, they went from having a superhero movie to therapy is really what that third act becomes.
Yeah, I mean, they went way too far with the daddy issues, that's for sure. Nikki D sends in $5. Do you think people will respect female Thor as much as the real Thor?
Only she's Thor in the morning.
Ooh.
Well, she's Thor that time of the month, too. She's
Thor
after, a lot of yoga and working out. All right, everybody got the joke. Salsa Shark, I love that name. As always, nice clerk's reference. Sends in $5. Best thing about Batwoman is watching it with EFAP and seeing it slowly destroy Az. Yeah, and Mecca, I know you started on it, but have you even kept up with it since then?
I don't know
Or
which one, Batwoman?
Batwoman, yeah.
I reviewed most of it. Yeah, probably most of it. I'll probably go back once they change out season 2, but yeah. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to I really didn't care about watching all the other supplemental crap to get whatever stupid crossover thing they were doing. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think then we're caught up on the super chats. So next story is Universal has made a deal with Cinemark. This is something that we've been following for a while. They have finally made a deal to shorten the PVOD window, which to me is pointless for a few reasons that we'll get into here. I think it's going to hurt more than it's going to help anything, because studios are not going to be able to afford to pull their movies out so soon anymore, because I don't think as many people are going to be able to go see it.
Yeah. Cinemark and Universal Pictures have forged a landmark agreement to bring theatrical movies more quickly to home entertainment. Squeaky chair. The deal follows a recent and unexpected arrangement that Universal struck months ago with AMC Theaters, the world's largest theater chain. That pact gave Universal the option to put movies on digital rental services 17 days after theatrical release. A decision that sent shockwaves throughout Hollywood because it dramatically shortened the time frame, typically 90 days, that films play exclusively on the big screen. In exchange, Universal would share in the digital profits with AMC. Cinemark has agreed to slightly different conditions under their terms. Any movie that earns more than $50 million in the opening weekend ticket sales has to stay in theaters for at least 31 days or 5 weekends. All their titles can be made available to rent on digital platforms after just 17 days. According to insiders, those new terms will also extend to AMC. Universal likely wouldn't opt to shorten the theatrical window. Industry parlance for the amount of time a movie plays exclusively in theaters for commercial hits, or the kind of movie that would gross more than $50 million in a single weekend. Anyway, neither agreement says the new releases will move to premium video on demand after 3 weekends. However, it gives Universal the opportunity to recoup potential losses should a movie underperform. Pardon me. Blockbuster hopefuls hailing from franchises like Jurassic Park or Fast and Furious are expected to have an exclusive theatrical run that's longer than a month. Anything shorter could cannibalize ticket sales. Universal movies that debut early on demand won't be promptly yanked from theaters. Cinema operators will still be able to play them on the big screen should they want to. The full financial terms of Universal Cinemark deal have not been disclosed. How much more of this we got here? Universal's century-long partnership with exhibition is rooted in the theatrical experience, and we are more committed than ever for audiences to experience our movies on the big screen, said Universal Filmed Entertainment Chairman Donna Langley, who also orchestrated the studio's historic deal with AMC. Mark Zorati and the team at Cinemark have been outstanding partners, and Peter Levinson, Vice Chairman of Chief Distribution of UFEG, has done a remarkable job on the studio's behalf in making deals that give us confidence to release our movies in the marketplace and keep content in the pipeline moving and provide consumers with the optionality that they are looking for. Optionality.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, that's a weird word. Weird way to use that word. The expedited timeline comes amid the great toilet paper shortage, a health crisis that's been devastating to those in the business of showing movies on the big screen. Rival chain Regal, the second largest circuit in the country, chose to close down all of its U.S. locations, citing the lack of new movies and weak ticket sales. AMC, on the other hand, said its deal with Universal is the reason why they're going to stay open. The company has not yet disclosed any details about the revenue share. Universal, compared to other major studios, has been active in debuting movies during the pandemic because of the flexible premium on video demand agreement. Universal's recent and upcoming releases, including slasher film Freaky and Focus, features titles Come Play, and Let Him Go, have been admittedly smaller in scale. Read that as financially less risky. Studio plans to save most of its anticipated titles like Fast and Furious sequel F9 and Jurassic World Dominion for when movie-going returns to a stronger degree. Before 2020 ends, Universal is opening The Croods: A New Age on November 25th. Comedic drama Half Brothers and romantic tearjerker All My Life on November 4th. That came and went. When is this dated? Where did I leave off? November 4th. You guys are behind the ball here. And news with Tom Hanks and Promising Young Woman from Focus features on Christmas Day. In a statement, Cinemark CEO Mark Zorado said the company believes in a more dynamic theatrical window. We are extremely pleased to further enhance our strong partnership with Universal as we evolve the exclusive theatrical window, Zorardi said. See, now they misspelled this guy. It says Zorardo and Zorardi. I mean, which one is it, guys? Come on, proofread your shit. Amateurs. We believe more dynamic theatrical window whereby movie theaters continue to provide an event-sized launching platform for films that maximize box office and bolsters the success of subsequent distribution channels is in the shared best interests of studios, exhibitors, and most importantly, moviegoers. Universal is currently the only major studio to reach this kind of agreement with theater owners, yada, yada, yada. Cinemark, AMC, two biggest movie chains. Country conceded the film distribution landscape will break what? Not all theater chains are ready to surrender to a feature that puts bigger emphasis on digital. Mookie Greedinger, CEO of Regal's parent company, Cineworld, has been vocally opposed to such drastic changes to a theatrical window. In a recent interview with Variety before Cinemark's deal was announced, Greedinger said he wouldn't entirely rule out a similar agreement, but attested that 17 days is too aggressive and too short.
Hmm.
And that's all I got to say about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well,
Like-
Keith and I are in Missouri, and so we hated seeing what was happening with Regal because Regal is a Kansas City, Missouri movie theater chain, and it's all over here. It's one of my favorite theater chains, and it kind of sucks to see it because it's been around since the turn of the 20th century, and just God, Hollywood just absolutely has no self-awareness at all.
no.
You know, it's like they're asking for handouts to save the industry. It's like, you created this. I'm not saying you made the disease. What you did is you created the perfect storm that fed from the disease. All for politics? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, but they'll argue, well, the banks did the same thing and the auto industry did the same thing. But it's like, no, it wasn't the same thing. Yours was far more intentional.
Yeah, far more direct, far more intentional. I mean, they killed their direct market. Jesus Christ. I just, I'm floored by that. And I love, Keith and I, we're cinephiles. And we spotted the transitional change early on. We started talking about that shit when we started our show, that this is going to change the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And, with Netflix and the future, we hadn't even seen the new Disney Plus yet, but we were talking about how Disney was going to step in, and now this whole thing has absolutely sped the whole process up. And I don't expect, the industry to survive the way we've known it. It's absolutely changed.
Yeah, and this is the thing that I don't understand is that like I said, the studios, after this is all said and done, are going to need the theaters to hang on to the movies longer. So I don't really think this is going to do anything to help them.
No, it's not.
We're stuck in a position now with a lot of nobody knows what the fuck's going to happen for the next few months. The studio said good luck to the theaters. As far as the theaters are concerned, they're on their own. So, I mean, if I was the theaters when they come back, I wouldn't be playing much ball with the studios at all, especially after a lot of the shit they pulled. I mean, you might as well go for broke. I mean, you've got nothing left to lose at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You were holding all the cards at one moment, and doing this just shows a sign of weakness. And the studios are going to do nothing but take advantage of it.
Sad. It's just sad. Wow.
Oh, I can tell Keith is down. We got to bring the show back up, man.
Well, we got some super chats. That'll always help. Mr. Tickle Trunk sent us a super sticker. Thank you very, very, very much, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Appreciate that. Matt G says $2. Just sell the DVD at the theater at this point. Yeah, I mean, you almost can, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of fucking digital anything. Don't trust it.
I'm with you.
And it's funny is how I see a lot of people who are like, you know, pro or anti-government getting involved in anything or anybody knowing their every move online, but yet they've got no issues with using streaming. It's like you realize they're keeping track of tabs on you so much more than you think they are.
Mm-hmm.
Willie, our good friend, the Monkey King, says, also, I'm a big fan of Spidey, and I don't bother to watch Spider-Verse because of the awful trailer. Also, shortening the release window is dumb. Yes, I believe it is stupid. Because, like I said, when they get back to this, I mean, you're not going to be able to be full capacity. So you're not going to be able to have movies play for a month and be able to pull them and then make their money. The studios can't afford that. I mean, Rob knows what I'm talking about, and I'm sure Gary and a few of the other ones here do too. Like back in the day, a movie would play all year, mainly because, you didn't have 20 movies coming out on a weekend.
Well, yeah. Ghostbusters, Beverly Hills Cop. I mean, yeah, there was a time when you could play a movie for an entire year and it would make it. Heck, even the original Star Wars.
Oh yeah, there was theaters that got I think the 4 years was was how many years this theater showed it nonstop.
Yep, one of them.
Guinness World Book of Records.
Yeah, because once you got the Cineplex in particular, they could, basically relegate one theater to playing these specific films at different hours every day. And, they could show Star Wars at like 1 o'clock matinee. And then like after Star Wars, they could show another film at 4 o'clock. And so it was that was the heyday of motion picture theaters. And it's completely altered the landscape now to where people, it's got to be something really worthy to want to go see in a theater now.
Pretty much.
You get asocial people like me. I mean, I'm talking nice to you people because I like you guys, but on average, I avoid people. Right. I really do. I'm very asocial. I'm very introverted. Keith knows.
I think a lot of us are actually.
Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, you want to go to the movies? No, not tonight. What's playing? And they'll come up with a comedy. I'm like, fuck no, I'm not going to pay $9 to $12 to see a comedy. It better be fucking epic.
Well, and that's the thing is like that there was an interesting point that Adam Marcus brought up earlier on our interview with him on the main channel earlier today. We talked to him live, and he said flat out, he goes, don't worry about competing with the rest of the Friday the 13th movies. You're competing with Terminator 2, which was the big movie at that time. He's like, well, what do you mean? He's like, because the people going to see your movie are paying the same amount of money to see Terminator 2. So they expect the same amount of entertainment.
Yep.
That's interesting. Yeah. And it's true. So, the whole concept of what a theater is good for literally has been, it better be popcorn fare. It better be a good
I think the
movie.
digital age has really changed that too. The cable age.
I won't argue with that at all. Yeah,
I think
right
that really, and then, well, of course, then it started with the straight to VHS. That's what they did. A lot of lower level comedies and sequels that wouldn't necessarily, they'd spend way too much money putting them in theater. They put that money into shooting it straight out on video, and it's a big video hit then.
And we could see this back in the 90s coming because Keith knows where I'm going with this, because a movie would come out and there was 6 months to a year moratorium before that film would come out on any type of video, whether it was cassette, beta, DVD, Blu-ray. And now it's like 30 days, 40 days after it hit the theaters, it's coming out.
Well, the window is still actually, I believe, just over 4 months. And that's where they've worked out this deal with the 4 months deal, because that's what I was saying before. I mean, Rob and I have brought this up many, many times. And I know I have, because when I had my video store, the moratorium went, because you got it broke down right in your catalog when you got it. Your video window was set this date. And like you said, it was usually anywhere from 6 months to a year after the film was initially released in theaters then. And even more than that usually. And now it's even shrunk down to like just up to the butt of that 4 month deal, to where now they want to get past that. And then they've gotten around certain things to where, the extra time it takes to produce Blu-rays, well, they've bypassed a little of that by throwing the movie up on digital like 30 days early. So I
warned people in advance. It says 1080p HD. It's compressed, and so you'll never get the clear picture like you will.
Right. Even the greatest 4K transfers I've seen on digital still have compression. And then Trenchman comes in with $1.99, says Clone High is overrated and unfunny. I remember that show, but unless you're talking about Spider-Verse, that's pretty much Clone High. Steven says with $5, I like Spider-Verse, but I had issues, including the cinematography. Nick Cage as Spider-Norn saved it. Yeah, my biggest issues is just the stupidity of some of the things, the way some of the character interaction is. Rob has many great points he's made up to that I agree with. And then there's the fucking Batcave. What the fuck? How do you get a Batcave in the middle of fucking Queens is beyond me, let alone who's... And then there's people arguing over whose Batcave. It's like, who fucking cares whose Batcave it is? Who put it there? How did they get it there? I mean, did they do it at night?
Permit?
Yeah, how did you get the permits? At least Bruce Wayne's cave, you can see like, oh yeah, there's another entrance. He probably did this shit over time with Alfred. You get it? It's kind of like, okay.
It already existed.
Half-ass existed. Yeah, he just put in the tech and the, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. They built a cave. They built a house on top of an existing cave. I mean, there's not a whole lot of caves in Queens, guys.
It's almost as stupid as that volcano movie.
Which one?
With
Dante's
Tommy Lee
Peak?
Jones. There's a volcano in the middle of L.A. I don't know what the fuck
That's
to do.
Volcano, yeah.
Who the hell put a volcano in the middle of L.A.?
Very meta line, yeah.
Yeah, and then Willie says with Ang Lee's Hulk, they should have made an ultimate Maestro. I can't say the name right.
I think it's Maestro, and I think that's
Maestro,
a really good idea. Yeah.
Instead of the absorbing, yeah, that's what they did. They kind of made him the absorbing man, and then they didn't really play along with it very well, because you could have had him. That was like okay, I get what they're doing. They're doing him. He's going to be Absorber Man or whatever the hell. I can't remember what is that his name? Absorber Man. I thought it was something else.
Absorbing Man, yeah.
Or the human sponge,
I thought, who am I thinking of? Maybe I'm thinking of the DC character. What's the DC character that has a very similar power?
Oh, Parasite.
That's who I was thinking of. Okay, so it is. Okay, I get the two flip-flopped a lot. That's my bad.
Not single site?
Yeah, not single site.
Parasites, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought, okay, so here's what you're going to do. You're going to set it up so at the end he just sucks the power out of him. And he's going to be momentarily weak while Daddy Hulk is going to beat up Son Hulk. No, they turn him into a fucking fart cloud. Like I said, it makes sense because Nick Nolte sounds like he's had to take a shit for the last 40 years. So,
Jack.
Partners are we, buddies are we, friends.
Yeah. Hey, Jack, tell me a bedtime story.
I got a shit.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Oh, my favorite.
Oh, that's my
You just got to get some Tropic Thunder quotes from him in there. That'll help.
Oh, Lord. So, yeah, that was the extent of our stories. And again, I don't see Hollywood being able to continue to go on without theaters. They can't make these $300 million movies and expect to bring in the kind of money on streaming because they're cutting out so many of their secondary markets and all these other avenues. And once something's on digital, it's got a pristine version on the Pirate Bay now.
Yeah, Keith and I talked about this on the show ad nauseum that
well, this is still an ongoing
budget.
thing.
Film budgets need to be kept under $50 million. in order to guarantee a
or
better
at least
chance of
100 at the
profit.
top. Because I mean,
You're really pushing it once you hit.
well,
like,
let's look at
over
it this way.
75.
Realistically, they claim that Trolls 2 made $200 million, right? Now,
Right.
I'm going to sit there and argue if Trolls 2 had made only $200 million at the box office, it would have been a flop. The only reason that $200 million they made was a profit to them is because they got to keep more of it, because it was all they had to do is pay whatever the digital fee is to, or the licensing,
Right.
part, to like,
Because they didn't. make
Apple
the
keeps
film.
a buck or
Right.
two, and Amazon keeps a buck or two, Voodoo keeps a buck or two, or whatever off each sale. Otherwise, all that money goes right into Universal's pocket.
Yeah.
As opposed to a theater situation where there's still other costs and things that go above and beyond that, besides not even getting that 100% of that ticket, even if they do get 80% of opening weekend. And then they cut into their video sales. They have nobody's. I guarantee
Yes.
you, Trolls 2 has not sold for shit on video. I bet they removed it now because I bet they sent it back to Universal. But at one time at my local Walmart, there was an entire end cap full of Trolls 2, and I swear not a single one of them budged.
Oh man.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
That's exactly right. And again, one of the ongoing things for our show, since we've been doing the whole 80s thing, is talking about the budgets of some of these films and looking at the technology. There is almost no reason why you shouldn't be able to make a good movie that looks way bigger than what it is, given now some of the technological breakthroughs that have occurred over the last 20 or 30 years, that at least
Shit, even the last 5, yeah.
Yeah, that a lot of that stuff is now simple stuff that kids in school can actually get their hands on. So if you look at it like that, there's almost no reason to be making these movies for over $100 million.
I mean, we were in the forthcoming episode of 1984. We talked ad nauseum about the budget for Last Starfighter. I mean, that's a cutting edge film, but they cut so many corners with the cast that they shot that. That was what, 4 million, 5 million. What was it?
They did it for really cheap. I know
Yeah.
that.
Well,
They did do it for cheap, yeah.
it actually cost more to make the movie. This is what shocked me. Buckaroo Banzai cost more to make than
Yeah.
Last Starfighter.
Yeah, because that's in the 84 thing too. It's like
Well, wasn't
its budget was
Starfighter
higher than
11?
Disney's sci-fi film.
Wasn't the budget for Starfighter like 11 million, but like 70% of that went to the CG stuff, which is why most of
Keith,
the movies.
you're the expert on that one. What was it? Do you remember?
Yeah. And Buckaroo Banzai was 17 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Buckaroo Banzai was a bit more ambitious from my recollection too, though.
And
Oh, yeah.
my god, I love that movie. It's like one of my
And-
favorite
Fun
films.
movie.
I mean, I just got to imagine. I can see where that costs probably a little bit more, but no, I mean, I think that speaks more to how that's because I think mainly because what's his face, the director, Nick Castle, he came from the John Carpenter school.
Mm-hmm.
He learned how to take a buck and turn it into $10.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really shows on screen. And all of his, Tommy Lee Wallace, anybody who's ever worked underneath him, that's exactly what they're good at. They're good at taking a minimal budget and making it look like $1 million.
Well, and the same thing, when you look at a film like Hellboy or even Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, both of those films didn't even come close to costing $100 million.
Well, I know the second one cost a bit too much, but yeah, the first film did very well. But again, I think that Guillermo del Toro is one of those, you got to bring him back in. You cannot let him spend the kind of money he has in the past.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing I think is going to be number one, is these actors, you got to get quick giving them, $50-60 million paydays. That's first and foremost, because that's the budget of your film right there. Secondly, you cannot be letting these directors go willy-nilly crazy. You know what? Guillermo del Toro only makes one movie every 10 fucking years anyway. So, quit giving... just start telling him what he's going to do, because otherwise I don't think he's going to do anything.
I think
How many movies does he promise that he never fucking does?
Yeah, I've been
Well, a lot of
waiting
the
for his
negotiation comes to
Universal
his
films.
salary.
Yeah, his salary. Well, I mean, we've seen the end of the big salary actors and directors. It's just not going to go that way. Harrison Ford for a while was the highest paid actor in Hollywood.
Well, yeah,
with-
then it was Will Smith, and then Johnny Depp got that $90
Well, then
million
Jim Carrey.
Well, yeah, Jim Carrey before Will Smith. You're right. Yeah, but I think the most Jim Carrey ever got was 20.
because none of these
The
guys.
minimum was 20. I think the highest he got was 35.
Did he
or
get
something.
35 for anything? I thought the most he made was Batman Forever. He got 24, and then he got 20 for Cable Guy, and then after that, I don't think he ever got 20 again. But you could be right. Maybe maybe he got 35 for Ace Ventura. You could be right, because I know he negotiated the fuck out of that second one.
Yeah. The other part too is that I mean there also has to be a bit of a fight with the accountants in studios, because a lot of the time they mess around with the numbers, which I would say if you're not going to be able to give your actors those $20 million paydays, you give them a modest salary and then points on the gross.
Well, yeah, they
not
get
the net,
points-
the gross,
yeah,
because
yeah,
that way they'll see money.
Exactly, because when you use the word net, that means you're not going to ever see a damn dime.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
the
case
studio's got to
since
cut all
the
the movie math out. There can be no more movie math, right? I mean, we all know here what movie math is. That is, it all depends on who's asking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Universal and Paramount both were very naughty with how they treated their actors. With
Warner Brothers has done it too. They all have. Fucking Peter Jackson had to sue Warner Brothers to get his residuals for Lord of the Rings. Sony's done it too. Ed Sullivan has claimed that even though they're 4 movies deep, the first Men in Black has never made any money. He has not seen a fucking dime for it. He wrote the original one.
yeah, that's bullshit.
Like, yeah, he's like, oh yeah, but they just made a 4th movie, but I ain't seen a dime because according to them, the original movie didn't make any money.
Yep. Coming to America all over again. Kid.
Yeah, exactly my point. It depends on who's fucking asking. If the press is asking, it was the biggest hit you've ever fucking seen. If somebody's coming to ask for a handout because they want their money, I'm sorry, it didn't make any money. It was actually a flop. Just because it looks like it made $1 billion, it didn't. That's what they say, and they're full of shit.
Yeah, because once it goes past that hashtag, in the paperwork, the rest of the numbers are hidden.
Well, and that's just it. And like Script was saying, you got to watch your contract. You only get what you negotiate, like Robert Meyer Burnett has
That's
brought up
right.
many times. And you got to look at it. Does it include video? Does it include television? Does it include cable? Does it include streaming? You got to make sure that, and any future, and you got to put that in there, any future home video or any other ancillary you got to get a good lawyer for this shit, or you're not going to see a fucking
invented
dime.
media platform is included.
Exactly. You got to nail that shit to the ground. And don't tell me the studios have not gotten smart since the days of DVD, because they learned the hard way that if you don't have your shit in order for something, because they were fucking making hand over fist on DVD. And that's why a lot of people are like, wait a minute, why ain't the real song on here? Or why this different? Why is that different? Or why can't we get, Wonder Years on DVD? Because they didn't do any of the music rights and shit correctly. That's why.
Yeah.
Very true. And it's all these expenses that they don't want to show you any of the paperwork for is what screws these guys. And I learned it as an artist too, doing comic books.
Oh yeah, great example. I'm sure that's the
what I get paid up front, because like I just commissioned 2 comic books, okay? And I mean, I'm like, I shouldn't be doing the show right now, but I fucking love you guys, so I'm here.
Oh, we love you too.
But my deadlines are insane right now.
Well, we're almost done anyway. So,
and the guy was like, "Well, I want to pay you this much." I said, "Look, man, the way I see it is, what I get paid up front is always likely the only money I'm going to see. Right. So I want to make sure that whatever work I do, I got something that makes me feel comfortable that I did it, and even though I might not get another one, another payday."
Well, yeah, because if you went by like gross or anything like that, I mean, you're basically at the whim of whatever they tell you, right? Unless you get a lawyer in there to crack open their books, unless they're going to be completely 100%, transparent with you anymore.
Right.
Like, that's the way business works. You got to almost just kind of, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't use anything like PayPal or those. I avoid them like crazy.
Right.
Because I had one client that was supposed to pay. Richard Bonk and I from Marvel, he and I were doing a book together. I was writing and he was drawing it. And the guy at the end of it, fucking crackpot, took all of his money back and went through whatever service we used. I can't remember what we used. It wasn't PayPal. It was the other big one. and they gave him all his money back after he got the artwork. And I just sat there like, holy shit! And I showed him all the proof of all the work we did, and they still gave him his fucking money back. And I
can't believe that they could do that. They should actually, it'd be more like the other way around. He should have to turn around and be able to sue you and prove that you.
No, I showed that he owed more money.
No, I know, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't even see how they can do that. But I've ran into issues with that kind of shit before too.
That was Square.
Oh, okay.
And PayPal did something similar to it with me with another client once, and I said, "That's it. I'm not using you guys. It's a direct deposit to my bank account.
Right.
I'll do Google Pay. Past that, I really try to avoid it, especially if it's a big contract, because I'm not going to have them renege on the agreement and then try to pull that money back from me when I've just put in like 80 to 90 hours.
Right.
Well, I'm not happy
and that's
with
something. If they're not happy with your work, then you take you to court, right? Like that's
sue me for it.
Exactly. Fucking do it like a proper business.
Exactly.
We got a super sticker from Mr. Wolverine 007. He sends us some popcorn. Thank you so much. I like popcorn. It goes pop, pop, pop.
Yay!
In my mouth. That horse is a diabetic. No. Mr. Tinkle Truck sends in another Canadian $5. Thank you so much. Says, I'm going to miss the theater experiences watching large budget, non-formalic movies like Arrival, though they were growing more and more scarce. Yeah, that's the thing is, we're going to have to sacrifice some things like that for a while. I mean, I think that's kind of why Nolan was out there crying a little bit in the press the other day. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. Where he's like, oh, no, it was actually a hit. It wasn't a bullshit, dude. You lost so much fucking money on Tenet. And you're crying and whining because the studio is going to question you from now on when they say, oh, you want to shoot on film? Yeah.
We're all out of film. Sorry.
We're all out of film. Exactly. Yeah, COVID killed all the film. Sorry. Matt,
that's the thing with film, man.
Ahead.
You're only as good as the last picture you made.
Yep.
Well, look, don't get me wrong. I'm a fucking purist at heart when it comes to film. I would love nothing more than film. Like, I won't go see a lot of revivals unless I know it's like a 35 millimeter print or something. I'm not going to go see something digital. It's pointless. I can watch it at home in 4K with Dolby Atmos and not have to deal with it. And I think that says a lot. But I do miss the theater going experience. I do miss going to the theater. And when you go see stuff like Avengers or something like that in the theater, it's an experience. I cannot replace the experiences I've had seeing like Star Wars and stuff like that in theaters, or even recently, like with mentioning the Avengers Infinity War was a hell of an experience in the theater. I mean, man, we got to see almost every single major Marvel character on screen at the same fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, remember how everybody was so disappointed at the airport scene with just like this.
Oh, fuck, man, I was freaking out, dude.
I was excited by that, but it's like so many people were talking to me going, man, I expected a bigger battle, more people. And I'm like going, well, this is a very personal fight, that airport fight.
And I get that,
but then you get that final battle and it's like, okay, happy now?
Well, I think my point is, though, like Rob, I think will really chime in this. And I'm sure you guys get what I'm saying, too. When we were kids, we didn't get shit. Like, if I go back right now and tell 10-year-old Rob Shlomo, in about 30 years, you're going to be able to see all the Avengers and all the major Marvel characters you ever loved and dreamed of on screen together at the same fucking time. Would you believe it?
No.
No way. Nope.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm not sitting here trying to say, oh, we should just accept everything we get. Don't get me wrong. I'm not even saying that in the least. But there are times where I think some of the nitpicky bullshit, we got to remember, we didn't get a lot of this shit. But when it comes to Star Wars, that's something we've been dealing with for a while. And Matt G brings up, I hope Episode 9 can finish filming in all this. Yeah, it'd be nice if we can get that finished. We need that movie.
I like soon. What Mark C said. Throw that up.
It's coming. Here we go.
Because that's what I said a minute ago when everybody was talking over each other.
Sorry about that.
Oh no, it happens. It happens.
Mark C says, "Still waiting for Guillermo del Toro to
because that's what I'm saying.
That Frankenstein adaptation.
Because you were talking about how Guillermo needs to be directed to what to do.
Yeah.
And because I said, I'm still waiting for the goddamn Universal monster films from him, which I knew would have been fantastic if he'd done it. But it's like he needs to just shut up. and be told what to do.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Go ahead.
I like Guillermo. I still think he would.
You do not.
I know. It seems like I doesn't, but no. I think he would have been fantastic doing Justice League Dark and not J.J. Abrams.
I 100% agree.
Again, as I said back then, Warner Brothers should have jumped on that deal, because having him make Justice League Dark with Matt Ryan on the big screen is infinitely better than anything that JJ is definitely going to try to come up with. And I don't get it. I really don't get it, because Marvel.
Because I guarantee you that JJ probably liked that whole thing with the animated DC Dark, with Matt Ryan's Hellraiser being a bottom to King Shark, because they had apparently some sort of relationship.
Yeah, and I don't even think Matt Ryan's not even going to be in this movie. He's recasting all the parts. Is what JJ doing.
God, fuck J.J. Abrams.
Well, and I like Guillermo del Toro, and the reason I keep bringing him up is because, and I keep saying that, is because the guy just has no direction. I mean, if he'd come across something he's actually that passionate about, we'd see it on screen. I guarantee it.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Is I think he's
in the mouth of madness twice.
I think he's just one of those wanderers.
Mountains
like he's just like, I was into that yesterday, but today I want to play video games. Tomorrow I might want to, go shopping at the mall. Then maybe I'll make The Hobbit. And if I don't do that, I'll make some with dragons. I don't know. Maybe.
Sounds like a certain book author who's
great. Yeah. And I love him. He just doesn't seem to have any direction at all. Like he just kind of wanders. I made a Blade movie.
I think Guillermo would be fantastic. I still think Marvel should have taken him up on his offer to make a Hulk series. That would have been fantastic.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this guy would be great in like a Marvel movie. And that's the thing, is he's got a great voice, but I've never really seen him do anything where he's that seeming to coming through that passionate that, I don't think he could be molded a little bit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, probably his most passionate thing that he's done that's from his own kind of like voice has been that Pan's Labyrinth, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, look at something like Hellboy. Great example. He fucking killed it with Hellboy. He had a property that was already established. He took the parts of it that everybody loved, got a perfect cast. This is why he's a great director. Give him a fucking Marvel movie. Shit, give him a Hulk movie. You're right. Do a Hulk 3 or 2 or whatever fucking number they're on.
Well, he had offered to do a Hulk television series, and this is like in the shadow of doing it was Hellboy: The Golden Army, and what he was suggesting is a Hulk television series for Marvel using his whole team that was coming off of Hellboy: The Golden Army. And it was like, my mind just blew up, and it's like, yes, if you can make it look like that movie, yes. That kind of effects work.
Well, and I wish I was a fly on the wall to see what the fuck was going through his mind where he spent, 3 years developing The Hobbit?
Mm-hmm.
And then he's just like, yeah, I'm not going to do it. just like that. I'm not going to do it. And then Peter Jackson's like, fuck. And damn near has a heart attack trying to fucking direct 3 movies that he didn't plan on fucking directing. Like, Peter Jackson deserves like a huge fucking award for those movies. Not because they are trash.
Yeah.
But he deserves a huge fucking award for coming in and basically picking up somebody else's mess.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Wow. If only.
I love Guillermo, don't get me wrong, but dude needs to fucking get some direction. Oh man. And he's obviously a bit of a narcissist. Look at him.
Probably has the coolest house I've ever seen.
True.
And I've been to H.R. Giger's house. So
yeah, place that Hulk music. I would M15 T3RV, but or Mr. V. But yeah, last time I did, we got copyright claims. So Mark C sends in $5 again. Thank you so much. My 11-year-old with a Chromebook would make more exciting Justice League Dark than J.J. Abrams. You're right. J.J. is fucking just.
He's poison. He's creative poison.
He makes Rob use the kazoo.
Okay, that's all the sad Hulk music I can do.
Oh, that's what that was. Okay.
I just think that JJ's someone who's clearly off his rocker. I mean, he literally, really, I think, has no real passion anymore. It's all about.
It ended after Mission Impossible.
If even that. I just think that he just needs to start developing his own properties and stop trying to become, I don't know what he's aiming for with all this other stuff. I mean, again, with his Superman stuff and Justice League Dark and what he's done to Star Trek and what he helped to do with Star Wars, this is obviously somebody looking for that big major payday. He wants to become the cultural end all be all, and he's not. He's
you know what I think is that he's not satisfied until he's been able to shit on every intellectual property.
Well, he wants to be George
base.
Lucas. He wants to not only be George Lucas, he wants to be recognized.
Who, JJ? No,
yeah,
he wants
JJ.
to be Spielberg, you mean?
Oh, well, he definitely wants to be Spielberg, but he
Yeah.
wants to be both of those guys. He wants to be Spielberg in the quality of what he makes. He wants to be recognized like George Lucas for the creativity and the kind of universe that he can build. He wants to be both. And he's never going to make that because he's not
Spielberg
capable.
is not that great either. I mean, the guy doesn't
Well,
even
Spielberg
understand
used to
irony.
be great, but I've brought up the point before. If that fucking shark worked, we wouldn't be talking about him today.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but
and I say
him.
that with zero fucking facetiousness or anything like that. No, totally. Because if Jaws would have been the way they originally planned it, it would have just been another Roger Corman B movie, and it would have never probably.
Summer Flick.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been the first blockbuster, guaranteed. But here's the other thing: is like unless he's being supervised, that guy doesn't understand irony, and that's why you rarely find irony in anything he does outside of Jaws and the work that he did for George Lucas or with George Lucas.
I mean, I do love. I'll give you. Here's my thing with Spielberg. His first probably 15, 20 maybe years of output is fucking superb. And there's no director who will probably ever be able to come close to what he managed to pull.
Duel was great. That's a TV movie.
Like from 75 to 95, the man, you can't fucking touch him. Like everything he did was gold.
Well, the shit
After
he did
that
on
is-
Columbo was just amazing.
Yeah, Columbo stuff was amazing.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
talking movie-wise, but I'm just saying, you go from Jaws all the way to Schindler's List, right?
To 1941.
Even 1941 belongs
1941,
in
you
there.
learned from that.
It belongs in there. That is his golden era. That is the age.
I
of,
love 1941.
I'll argue up and down because Close Encounters, E.T., fucking even producing Poltergeist, Gremlins, all this shit that he had his hand in.
And he apparently backseat directed Poltergeist as well.
Well, kind of almost same thing with Gremlins in a way. Like if it wasn't for him, Gremlins would not have been the way it was. I mean, there's a lot of shit that he changed in that. And again, I cannot take anything away from the guy. There'll be nobody who will ever be able to touch him. He has deserved to be in that pantheon with Scorsese,
what about JJ?
Hitchcock. Fuck JJ. He's a goddamn hack. He's a fucking hack, and he
Oh, no,
deserves
I-
to be
I
shoveling
triggered
fucking
Tom.
fries at fucking McDonald's. That's the only place he needs to be
copy-paste
seeing
director.
some lens flare.
Yeah, he just copy and paste stuff. He sees something in another shot somewhere, and then he uses it. He lifts that.
The
up.
lens flare he sees should be the
takes
fucking
them
next
directing.
car in the drive-through. Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Well, that's just it. He visually replicates other directors, and he thinks that makes him a good director.
Mhm.
It
And
doesn't, but what it does allow him to do is allows him to repeat stuff to studios that can't afford those more expensive directors and hire him. But now that he's this big name, he gets those big paydays for doing the exact same work.
Yep.
Look, Spielberg can be in the same breath as Kubrick, Hitchcock, Scorsese, all those guys. Fucking, there's never going to be a day where you're going to say Scorsese, Hitchcock, J.J. fucking Abrams. I feel like washing my fucking mouth out right now.
I think the last really good thing that he ever wrote anyway was his first major film was Regarding Henry.
Oh, yeah, I brought that up before. He was a much better writer than he ever was a director. Regarding Henry is a wonderful film, and it's very overlooked. One of Harrison Ford's best performances ever.
Amen to that. Amen.
I just think that if he had stuck with just television, and had continued to go along with what he had been doing and developing his magic box formula, mystery box formula.
Oh,
for
fuck
TV.
that shit. God, that only works one time.
Yeah, but I mean, it works better in television than it ever will on film, because that's really his whole act. And
Well,
for TV, I can almost buy it.
It's almost the exact same thing that was the downfall of M. Night Shyamalan.
Yes.
You know, you try to use the same thing over and over again. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, he couldn't stop in his case. He was only giving green lights when he could come up with those types of twist endings.
No, there's a point where I do kind of feel sorry for Shyamalama Ding Dong. But Willie says, cool panel, just missing one thing, me. Well, one of these days we'll have to get you on here, Willie. I promise. No, and you guys are bringing up really great points, and I agree with just about every one of them, of course. There was a regular chat I wanted to bring a highlight up here, and I've lost it now. Damn it.
Sorry, guys. That was.
Oh, here it is, the Kevin Smith one. I was looking for it. Where'd it go? Now it just jumped on me again. No, I'm not saying that he's the Kevin Smith is like the fucking complete opposite of Guillermo del Toro. He makes too many fucking movies.
Yeah, he's not very good.
He's the one. I mean, I guess if you mean the direction part, maybe, but Kevin needs to quit making so many shitty movies. That's his problem. Not every idea needs to be a movie.
You know,
there was a script circulating around of trying to get about these two guys trying to get an Oscar for Leonardo DiCaprio, and then he got it, and then the script basically died in development.
Well, I again, it is difficult to be really good, but those people that truly are transcendent, are gifted, they find a way to shine. And JJ, I'm sorry, dude, you don't have it. You never had that. You're serviceable, but even then, you know.
No, I agree. It's just JJ's shit. Greg Berlanti, Alex Kurtzman, Chris Chibnall, all garbage writers. The only reason why Chris Chibnall got any attention is because of the first season of Broadchurch. Well, Broadchurch was good because it was a direct adaptation of the fucking book. Once he started writing it on his own, the show went downhill in its quality.
What other TV show was like that? Oh yeah, Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Oh,
Hey,
those
the
TV
guys.
shows. Yeah.
As I say, the mystery box only works if you eventually show what's in the box, though. That's the problem with JJ.
Yeah,
Well, you have
good
to have
point.
something very good in that box first, and
Yeah,
that's
exactly,
rarely the
that
case
too.
when you're coming up with a mystery box
And
concept.
it only usually works for a few episodes.
I keep coming back to the episode of Community, Abed's Uncontrollable Christmas,
Yep.
where he opens up the mystery box in Santa's workshop. What is it? It's the first season of Lost on DVD. That's the meaning. That's the meaning of Christmas? No, it's a metaphor. It represents lack of payoff.
Oh
Yeah.
my god!
Yep.
I forgot
Mark
about
C
that.
says
Lost
with
was
$2.
appropriately titled, man,
Yeah,
because
no
they had
shit.
no idea what they were writing.
Lost 6 years of my life. Kevin Smith was a better director before the weed. Here's the thing, Mark C. I don't believe he's never been that completely sober. I think he just finally admitted to smoking when it was more legal.
Yeah, because he got high when he was younger.
I was going to say, because there's times where he's made claims that he didn't smoke it before, but then there's times where he's told stories where he talked about being high, like around like
Yeah, because
Mallrats
I
era
used to
and
listen
shit
to his
like that.
podcast
So,
all the time, and yeah, he's done that. He's a
he
he's
may not have been an
bullshit.
avid smoker, but I'm pretty sure he got high from time to time before.
Well,
yeah.
Tom, I happen to have a quote here. We actually was able to contact Kevin Smith and about his alleged usage of marijuana, and this is what he had to say when I asked him.
Smoke weed every day.
So
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he was
That's
an
right.
avid smoker, but I'm pretty sure he did from certain stories. But,
I mean, he was friends with fucking Jason Mewes.
well, not just that. I mean, they all used to hang out and do that shit. I mean, that was the thing, you know, like,
It was the culture.
yeah. It was just, you know, it was also the culture to keep it down the DL until it was started being legal in a lot of places too.
Yeah, I totally got high, but I didn't inhale.
We all believe you, Bill.
odds are not.
And before anybody yells at me, that joke was fucking time appropriate.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
I haven't touched Hillary in years.
Meanwhile, you got Rob over there who didn't even get high with Clint Howard.
Yeah, but then when he did get high, he forgot how to read.
Wait a minute. What?
First time, yeah.
With Robin Howard's brother?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here, really?
I know, right? Like, there's like 5 people in the world where if you meet them, you have to get high with them. And I'm
Right?
counting Cheech and Chong as one person here. So, like,
Your brain.
and Clint Howard is clearly on that list. And Rob fucked it up. So did Gary, though.
You
So I
wanna
gotta,
tell the story?
Yeah, but bad
Well,
things
tell the
happen
story.
about what?
Clint?
How you even met Clint Howard?
How even because Tom, what happened, Tom? You
I
were
missed my photo op with him.
photo op. Okay,
And luckily, the nice people at the people that actually put the Star Trek thing together are great. Okay, don't all the bitching we do about Star Trek and we bitched about the convention.
Just the actors.
It's just the people who actually put the thing together are great. So the lady made sure that she could try and work it out with Clint and his people to where I could get some time with him. And yeah, we came down and he was very gracious, hung out with us for like, God, almost 15, 20 minutes, talked to us until they had to literally shoo him out the door.
And what was the
I got the picture coming, chill out.
what was the catalyst though for it all?
Well, he noticed that you were wearing, well, the catalyst is Tom's a lazy fuck and didn't get there in time. But but yeah, you were wearing your Cheap Trick shirt, so he got talking about Cheap Trick.
Great fucking band.
I know all those guys. I know all of them. I met them all. I hung out a couple times. He's like, in fact, I just saw him like 3 months ago or something like that. He's like, yeah. And then you guys were talking about all the times you've seen him.
Yeah.
And then later on the next day, because he's like, yeah, bring it by the table. I'll sign it for you. No problem. And so I brought over the picture for him to sign. As you see here, he signed it. And then Jesse Miller goes, hey, you hungry? You want to go get something to eat? Buy lunch. I gotta eat sometime. Sure. So he grabbed his shit and we took him back upstairs so he could drop off his other stuff. And we took him out to eat. And Mecca and Rob and all of us were there. And then in the middle of dinner, Jesse leans over to him. Hey, you want to go get high? Oh, yeah, sure. I got a card. Hell yeah, let's go. And so we went upstairs, and for about 4 hours we sat there and we got high with Clint Howard, and he told us about his days from everything from fucking Gentle Ben to fucking Star Wars, man. It was just crazy.
In what we call the Midnight's Edge presidential suite.
Ozzy forgot the word if once. Just say no, kids.
I keep saying that Ozzy Osbourne is like Keith Richards are the same person because and Ozzy is just up higher. Sharon and Keith Richards is down low. So man, yeah, me also 67. You need a choke, man. No way, man. No. You know,
pretty close.
That is pretty good.
You're not wrong.
I always found it interesting that Ozzy looks like he learned to walk from the Emperor from Star Wars.
We got a last bit of news that's actually a little bit of good news here, actually. Supposedly they found the person who...
Space station.
Okay, Rob. Okay.
Go ahead, Tom.
We understand now. They're the same
No,
person.
I don't think you understand. We have...
What don't I understand?
You don't understand. We have to defeat the rebels, okay? The rebels. So out there.
Wait. Keith, you're in the wrong movie. You're a pirate, not a Star Wars.
Man said, man, rebel, man.
I'm sorry, that was the wrong guy. Anyway.
Rebel, man. You know, you get the rebels. You get
Ozzy as the Emperor would be just fucking awesome.
There's the rebels. They're on the moon, you know, say, in the moon. And they're teddy bears. You know, they're all over the place.
Well, CNN has let us know that a man charged with assaulting Rick Moranis has been arrested. I don't believe they say his name here, which, it's a good thing.
Yeah, they do, I think.
Because if you're, do they? Because I say, don't see a name.
One of the articles I went with had a name, but.
Good. Get his name out there.
Let me
Because
find
you know
it.
what? Why should he be fucking protected? Dumbass.
It doesn't have his name on it?
Motherfucker. No, it didn't on the
All right,
CNN
my
one because
turn,
that's
my turn.
the CNN. I don't care. It's just the point.
A man suspected of assaulting actor Rick Moranis has been arrested and charged, according to police. The 38-year-old was arrested and charged after he was identified as the suspect in the October 1st attack on the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids actor. The New York Police Department said Saturday, NYPD Sergeant Anwar Ishmael told CNN the alleged assailant has been charged with second-degree assault. The NYPD said the attack occurred in broad daylight, just before 7:30 a.m. on Central Park West near 70th Street. The video taken from surveillance cameras shows a man walk towards Moranis, 67, and punch him in the head, knocking him to the ground. Moranis' management and lawyers said that at the time, the actor was okay and did not have any major injuries. The NYPD said on Twitter that the suspect was identified by a member of NYPD's Transit Bureau. CNN has reached out to see if a lawyer has been appointed for the suspect.
Yeah, the Variety article says his name.
Yeah, his name is, in this one article I'm reading, is Marquis Ventura.
Stage name.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I didn't.
That's more
my
like
video
a
just got
porn
monetized
name.
for-
I was just bringing it up because I felt like CNN was protecting him because,
Yeah,
that was
might
the
be.
thing that bothered me was like all the headlines and stuff because it had been like some little white dude who decided he was going to go and hit like fucking Samuel L. Jackson. You know what the headline would have been. Hate crime committed against Samuel L. Jackson. Like there is, if you guys have seen the video, this guy doesn't hit him for any other reason than that he just sees a feeble little white dude that he can hit. Like Mecca said, he probably had no fucking clue who he was hitting. I guarantee you he had no clue who he was hitting. He just thought he was going to get away with it.
A short, old, rich
He
white
didn't rob
person
him?
or Jewish guy. He might have thought he was Woody Allen. Even he probably just now in the Variety article that I did a video on. And by the way, that's why I haven't had anything up today. I've been waiting for them to review it, and it's monetized. So hopefully you'll be good to go on yours if we talk about this here. What was I saying?
Everything is
remember.
demonetized here. Mecca.
Yeah.
You should know that.
I can't remember where I was going with. Oh yeah, they said that the guy is this homeless guy, and
He
see
didn't
the
look
actual
very
footage.
homeless.
Yeah,
He's
well, he
a
was
homeless ex-con, in fact.
Yeah, and he's got a chin diaper instead of a mask, so wear your mask. Now he's also like they just describe him as homeless, and they describe him as like even it doesn't matter even if it's not racially motivated. It's still a really shitty thing to do to be somebody who looks relatively youthful, relatively healthy, relatively large and intimidating. He looks like he could do any sort of physical task he puts his mind to see this short, old, probably rich person. It was probably just in this wealthy area of town. I don't know that much about New York. Maybe Rob.
Well,
It's
I don't even
definitely, it's not rich, but it's
I was
affluent.
gonna say, and I don't even
Yeah.
think Rick is that like well off. Like, yeah, he put away some money from his last few films, but he hasn't done a
But
shit.
to a
ton.
homeless person down on their luck, you're
Well,
gonna.
regardless.
Yeah.
Here's the footage, though. Here's the punch right there. I'll back it up in case anybody.
He didn't
but
give a shit. He didn't
Yeah,
want to
he
even
didn't-
rob him.
Yeah.
I doubt even Rick said anything to him.
He might
And-
have. Hell, he might have said "good afternoon" or something. Or
I don't think he said
Even
anything to him at all.
No.
And according to the prosecutors, they're saying that Ventura has been involved with numerous other unprovoked attacks on people. This wasn't a first or only.
guy's just a thug. He's just a bad person.
Now you need the life video to kick in.
Why would you do that? I just don't get it.
I don't.
Mentally unstable.
I cannot stand anybody young hitting old people.
What's the point of hitting anybody? Unless you got a damn good fucking reason or you're protecting somebody. And that's what I was saying, Captain Robert April. I say, unless the guy can literally be found mentally unstable, like Keith just said, chalk it up as a fucking hate crime.
Yeah, and
that's what I say. Because
and in
give me a
response to
reason.
Captain
Give me a
April,
reason. Yeah.
Captain April is right because it was not a mugging. It's clear it's not a mugging. It was just he walked right up to him, punched him, and just kept on going. Go, fuck it, I'm moving on.
It's either an age crime or a hate crime, one or the other.
Well, to me, the reason why I said mental is most people in that particular instance probably would have ran. He kept walking. So obviously he's in his own universe.
Well, I agree with
And-
you, Keith, to a point. Obviously, you got to be off your fucking rocker to just do that.
Yeah. He's not running. You are a black man in a major city in a part of town where it's obvious you don't belong.
Well, you also got to keep in mind, Keith, that this happened right in the heart of the mostly peaceful protests too.
yes.
Mostly people.
But I mean,
So I got to take that into consideration, but otherwise you're right. You're 100% right. I mean, I didn't really think of it from that angle to a point, but no, you are correct that adds more to it in that sense. Like, yeah, this guy has zero fucks to give.
yeah, he's because again, if you're either robbing someone or doing something else, especially if you know it's illegal or wrong, you're gonna run. This guy's not running. He's walking like he hasn't got a care in the world.
Mhm.
And it's just
He's
like that's a
walking
whole,
like he achieved something, like he
it's just-
won something, as opposed to he broke the law. He's like, no, I enforced the law. That's the type of
Yeah.
strut he did.
It is. He's obviously in a different mental place.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was just pissed because he had lost a lot of his points on Farmville. Nobody plays that anymore, so
That's old, dude. That's old. Mr. Wolverine 007 sends in $5. And keep in mind, the same guy who popped Rick, punched a girl in the face, also maximum charges need to be put against him. Yeah, if this is not the first time, and here, again, I have to say it with this caveat. If this guy does have mental issues, he does deserve to go to a mental facility first. But then once he's let out, I feel like he should sit some time. See, that's the thing, is like, we need to be put in a society where, yeah, you've done something wrong. You do need to still pay for your crime. I don't care how fucking crazy you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the part of the point of the recovery process from something like that should be learning that you have to pay for your mistakes. I'm going to give you a perfect fucking example. My very own child who has mental problems. He is considered autistic and ADHD. Now, I brought up in a very point at a very important meeting once because he had gotten in some big trouble. And I said, look, what happens every time Jeffrey gets in trouble? Well, he comes down to the office and then we do this and that, and, just like okay, but what happens if any other child in this school does the same exact fucking thing? And they're like, well, they would be sent home or expelled or whatever, or suspended or whatever. I'm like, yeah, why isn't the same thing happening to my kid then? After a certain amount of time, he just keeps doing this because why? He knows you guys are not going to do anything about it. And that is exactly where
it's it. There's no repercussion.
Exactly. So, like, even if you're somebody who has some kind of mental problems or even some kind of disability and you've committed a crime, now I'm not saying that depending on the crime, that's depending on the severity of the punishment. But I don't think the two should correspond. Because I think a lot of people fake a lot of mental problems just to get out of fucking jail.
It shouldn't be an issue of having mental problems or not to know that hitting another human being is bad.
Well, that is the truth,
probably
Micah,
why.
and I get what you're saying, but there has to be a certain amount of fucking gray area there where there is some people who just don't have a fuse connected correctly, and they get lost in the system, right?
Yep.
Instead of getting help as a young teenager, he probably got wrapped up into a lot of bad shit. I'm willing to give the guy that much of the benefit of the doubt. But if he's just going around taking out his fucking anger on people, then no, the dude needs to be locked up. Period. Plain and fucking simple. He's got some anger issues that I don't know if he can work out.
I mean, he was there
but he
enough
needs to be
wear a
put into a
mask.
position where he can be rehabilitated through the legal system, and if that's through prison or through a mental health center, so be it. Because we can't have people that are stuck and left alone to behave in this way. Consequences come with actions, and that has to be addressed. It just does. I mean, it also has to be properly vetted by the people we trust to sort of help us out with these things. Because to your points, Tom, when you were talking about like someone just wants to fake being mentally crazy so they can avoid jail, that's the premise of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Right,
Yep.
right. And Geektrology Geektropology brings up a good point. Same diagnosis as me as a child. Trust me, we can go around without punching people. Yes, you can, but there are some people who can't go around without killing people too.
Well, see, here's the
So
thing, though.
obviously, like,
They're enough to know to wear a mask because there's a pandemic going on.
right. I'm
So
willing to give the
I
guy
call
the benefit of the
bullshit.
doubt so far. I think the guy's just got some major fucking anger issues, and he took
Yeah.
advantage of the time period. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, same.
I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure he needs some fucking help. That's for fucking sure.
Oh,
But
if he's homeless, then clearly society has we've failed this individual. We failed to make him feel like he's worthwhile as a human being.
and I'm willing to bet, yeah, there's probably some help he didn't get when he, instead of being helped, he got thrown into prison. I'm willing to bet that. There is a good possibility of that, but that's not a fucking excuse. That's still never an excuse. And you know, people need to start being a bit more accountable for themselves, and that's, you know, one thing about this whole movement that just happened, not to get too political, but it's like it goes into entertainment too. It's like you can't just expect people to look at this situation and go, okay, we're just going to change our ways and be okay with it. You know, it's one thing to want something, but you can't just do it this way. You can't just destroy something else in the process, whether it's somebody's home, somebody's business, or somebody's franchise, or somebody's, you know, or kill somebody, you know, or hurt somebody else. You just can't do that. Whether it's through Twitter, whether it's doxing somebody, whether it's hitting them while they're walking down the street. I mean, come on. There has to be a point where we all sit down and say, right, okay, we may not agree on all this shit, but we're fucking human beings and we really need to start acting like it. Otherwise, it's just going to turn into fucking chaos.
That's exactly like what Natalie Portman said at one of her speeches.
Yeah, but they don't believe it. That's the problem. There's always an if and a but with them. Except those people.
Or as you said previously,
but not for me.
Caveat.
Except if I get to play Lady Thor.
Are not going to have a change of behavior out of the goodness of their hearts. They are motivated by self-interest, and they will only change their behavior if they have to worry they will lose what they care about.
Gee, you should maybe turn around and look in a motherfucking mirror, Lady Thor.
Yep.
Man.
Yep. They're only going to change if they lose what they care about.
Because guess what, Lady Thor? Firemen, police officers, nurses, doctors,
paramedics,
teachers, paramedics. All these people are necessary. Guess who isn't necessary?
Actors.
Me.
We can make our own entertainment.
Well, script, I would argue more for the necessity of a writer than I would an actor. At least you could adapt your skills.
Yeah, that is true. I could always write instructions for like how to.
Well, not just that. I mean, you could become a journalist. You could write a book. You could do a lot of other things. And you know, book entertainment is cheap, kids.
I think this year, the pandemic and all these at-home shows have proven that a lot of these actors are nothing without their giant camera crews and screens, because they're not getting nearly the views that a guy in a basement with a camera and a microphone gets, or, you know, like a lot of our channels in the Fandom Menace get a lot more views than some of these late night shows even. You know, I mean, I get more views on some of my things than Will Wheaton does on his thing, but that's not really pandemic related anyway. But you kind of see a lot of these terrible.
I was gonna be like, hey, I watch Will Smith's YouTube.
you know, the Will Wheaton.
No, I know. I was just
no, but like a lot of these, like the Trevor Noahs and the Ellens and all these people just are churning out this cringe as fuck stuff with their little at-home editions. Not that they were funny anyway, because it was all Orange Man bad jokes, which is like, okay, and water's wet. You got something funny, or am I going to just hear the same thing over and over again? So.
I'm in South Africa. Oh, I don't understand. I'm in South Africa.
Yeah, I keep getting ads of his show instead of, so they're just buying their own views. They're not even like, look at all these views we're getting. Yes, because it's running as an entire ad.
I hate to say it. I don't know if you've been watching any of his shit lately, Rob, but the only one on that side, in quotations, that really seems to fucking get it right now, and I hate to fucking say it, is Bill Maher. Yeah. He has been fucking on point his last few shows, calling all of them to task, even before the election, saying, look, this shit has got to change. This cancel culture bullshit, we're seen as the woke side. This is what we're seeing. He was calling it all
are viewed
out.
As alt-right because we're not alt-left. And that's where
Bill Maher said last Friday, he says, listen, if you have Cracker Jacks, that's popcorn and shit, and half the country throws out the popcorn and eats the shit, popcorn would want to know why. I mean, so we have to take a look. He goes, you know why? Because it's everything people hate about.
He even called to task the fucking
cancel culture shit.
you know, I mean, he's called to task some of the celebrity shit too lately and just how people have been. I mean, again, don't make me fucking stick up for this guy because normally he's kind of.
He's a pretentious douchebag.
He's a pretentious dick,
man.
but
Yeah,
he's not wrong here not to steal his own fucking line. And for once it's refreshing to see somebody actually fucking get it who's on that side. You know, besides him and a few others, there's not much to speak of. And I hate saying it because I have been so middle of the road. I even got in an argument with my parents earlier about a lot of this shit. Because I keep telling them, you guys got to quit watching the fucking news that's on the fucking cable.
Yep.
Well, it's all about how much access of information you're able to get. And it goes back to what I told you and Andre last year about the film industry, where if you have someone that's passing you information or scripts that are woke, so to speak, and and that's all you're getting, you're going to think that's what the real world wants to see. But there's a filtration system going on. There's a gatekeeping process in place. And that even happens to a lot of the people who are in California and in the more tighter industry of Hollywood. They're only seeing the stuff that people are allowing them to see. So it skewers their world vision. And it's one of the reasons why I didn't fully move there, aside from the fact that I also couldn't afford to do it because I wasn't getting enough work. And at the same time, also wondering why the heck I'm pitching stuff that I think is missing within the industry, like, you know, heroes that are also role models that parents and kids could all get behind universally, and not getting any traction. And it's just because, I have the advantage of being able to leave this crazy world for 6 months of the year and go back to my normal one. And I'm the only one that's kind of growing while everybody else is still stuck in Arrested Development. And it's just the case, and it happens in microcosms throughout the entire country. It doesn't matter if you're left or right. There's always going to be a skew of information.
Yeah. And Deranged Lunatic says Hollywood likes to get high on its farts, and yeah, it does. But I gotta call Bill, you know, or give him credit, I guess I should say, when he does do things right. And, you know, he's accused of TDS, and that's very true, but also he has a good reason to be. He and Trump went after each other way, way before Trump was president. Yeah. And I've heard Bill say some pretty fair shit about Trump, and I've heard him even call to task certain, you know, people on the left that he's had on his show when it comes to certain things with Trump, and he'll flat out say this is why his base likes him. He gets it. I got to give him that much, at least for the most part. He gets it, and he understands why people gravitate towards him. And I think if a lot more people listen to him in this situation, then maybe the other side would finally get it. Because that's the thing, is like, you can't have somebody out there going, you know, oh, now is the time for us to be peaceful, but yet the last 4 years you've been doing nothing but calling everybody istophobes. And I know we're getting a little political now, but that's exactly what we've been dealing with here on the show. You know, and that's a point I had to make with my mom earlier. It's like, you know, you got all these people for fucking 4 years who have done nothing but sling mud and call people the most horrible things in the world and cancel people left and fucking right. And now they're calling for a peace treaty. That's not the easiest thing in the fucking world for the other side to accept, I'm sure. And I'm caught up in the middle of this shit.
If they started that 4 years ago and said, okay, listen, the guy we wanted didn't get into office, let's try and make this work. Because that's usually what adults do. But we didn't get that, unfortunately. We got protests of not my president. I'm like,
and I get it. Mar has his critics. Yet. Mar has his critics, and he's not all the time on. I get it. I don't agree with half the shit, if not most of the shit he probably says sometimes.
Well, if people
once in a while
were
he
like
gets it
Keith
right.
and I, you know, Keith is what I refer to as a blue dog Democrat, and I'm, you know, moderate conservative, and we talk politics all the time, right, Keith?
Oh,
and we don't agree on hardly. Well, we agree on a lot of shit, but there are things we don't agree on. But we get along. We don't fucking fight over it. It's just stupid. And people who get so aggressive and bent out of shape and treating it like it's a goddamn religion. Let's go into a new crusade about politics. That's the new religion. And I don't have time for fucking people. If you cannot speak logically and rationally, I'm not going to have a conversation with you. Period. Keith knows that.
Yeah, it again, it's become the new religion, and I'm done, you know, doing that. I got other things that are more worthy of my time and attention than to just
like our show.
Yeah, Yeah, because this whole geek thing, is only going to be popular for so long.
Yeah, it's got a few years and it'll burn out.
I personally see he thinks that. I think we got maybe a year. So,
but yeah, these guys do great stuff. So do check out the Pop Culture Minefield channel here on YouTube. They always do some great work over there, and sometimes I even pop up from time to time.
Yeah, actually, our buddy from Heavy Spoilers is going to be joining us soon. And I don't know if you guys know Ivan Ortega, who did one of the
Ivan.
He's going to be on our show on Wednesday.
Oh, awesome!
And,
I was trying to get him a while back, but I hadn't heard from him in a while.
He's had a rough year.
I was gonna say, I know he's been dealing with a lot of shit, so I hadn't.
Shit. Lost a job in a very ugly way. COVID kicked his ass with work, and so he's struggling. And I've talked to him for a while. He loved our review of his the trailer for his Star Wars edit, and I'm looking forward to having him on the show. I love that guy. I love his edits. I love the way his he's like a writer. If I don't know if Script Doctor's ever watched him, he understands structure probably better than any writer right now, and he gets right in there and just tears films apart why they suck.
Well, editors are basically another form of writer.
It is.
The only thing that they have is that the scene's already kind of done for them. It's just how can they best make it pop the way
exactly, and they understand timing. That because directors have a tendency, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, have a tendency of overshooting a scene, and they will allow a camera to go too long. And you can always tell when a director is editing their own film if they're not really proficient editors, because they'll let a scene go on too long. And a good editor, like a writer, knows exactly when to end that cut and move to the next thing. And Ivan's one of those guys, and I'm looking forward to having him on Wednesday.
Awesome. Well, tell him I said hi. It's been a long time since I've got a chance to see him. And I want to thank all of you out there for watching. We've had over 300 people watching for the last bit here. If you haven't hit that like button, please do. Let the algorithm know that you do like what we do here. I don't say love, but at least like. I know Rob and I are a bit abrasive, but we do tend to generally make some funnies, and Mecca's nice to look at, and Script, he knows some things. So, hey,
I know things.
He knows things.
Correctamundo. Yeah, one day you're going to hear about me getting cold cocked at a fucking convention. You watch, because I'm such an asshole. I just openly mocked a guy on our group page, by throwing, because he says this one thing is the literal, definition of irony or some shit like that, and then I actually gave him the definition back. You go, you mean that?
All right, kids, please hit that like button. Please check out the Pop Culture Minefield. I shared their link in the chat there, and I want to thank all the mods who are in the chat with us today. And everybody have a good week, and I'm sure we will see you all soon or later or sooner or later. Right, Mark?